What if two people read the same Bible verse, and one says it means one thing, while the other says it means the opposite? Can both interpretations be correct? Or does Scripture have a meaning that exists beyond our personal perspective? There is something we must understand first. Translation changes the language, but it should not change the meaning. When a biblical text is translated from Hebrew, Aramaic, or Greek into another language, the translator has a responsibility to communicate what the original text was saying. Interpretation comes afterward. We can ask, what does this passage mean? But we should not begin with, what do I want this passage to mean? Perspective is important. Two people can look at the same object from different positions and see it differently. But their different views do not necessarily create two different objects. The same principle can help us understand Scripture. Our background, culture, education, and experiences can influence how we read the Bible. But our perspective does not automatically determine what the original text means. Imagine a number painted on the ground. One person sees a 6. Another person walks to the opposite side and sees a 9. They may honestly disagree about what they see, but simply saying, everyone has their own perspective, does not solve the question. We still need evidence. Where was the number written? What was the original intention? What does the surrounding information tell us? Perspective gives us an observation. It does not automatically give us the truth. The same principle applies to Scripture. A biblical passage should not be isolated from its context. We need to consider the words, the sentence, the surrounding passage, the historical setting, the literary form, and the broader teaching of Scripture. Otherwise, we can make almost any verse say almost anything. That is not faithful interpretation. That is imposing our meaning onto the text. Of course, translation is not always simple. Languages have different grammar. Some words have several possible meanings. Idioms may not have direct equivalents, and ancient cultural expressions may require explanation. That is why serious biblical translation requires scholarship, comparison of manuscripts, linguistic knowledge, and careful attention to context. But difficulty does not mean that meaning is completely subjective. The goal of translation is still the same, to faithfully communicate the meaning of the original text. So here is the deeper question. If Scripture can mean anything we personally decide, then how can Scripture correct us? A sacred text that only confirms what we already believe, never truly challenges us. But if Scripture has an objective meaning, then sometimes we must allow the text to challenge our perspective. We don't bend the text to fit our viewpoint. We examine our viewpoint against the text. Translation may change the language, interpretation may differ in some details, but neither should give us permission to create our own meaning. Because if we are searching for truth, our goal should not be, what does this mean to me? Our deeper question should be, what did this actually mean? Only then can personal application come afterward. If you are interested in exploring Scripture, truth, history, and the deeper questions behind faith, follow this channel, and let's search for truth beyond personal perspective.